So this little tangent has been good because so often we talk about giving people the tools to be able to go through things, right? The tools to be able to make big changes in life. What we just talked about are the type of things that they're going to encounter before a decision is even made, right? So there's a build up to this big moment, and Isaac's talked about a few of his, but there's build ups to these big moments that if you are not prepared to handle the anxiety, the fear, and all the other things that will come with that, man, you will be pushed back every time, and you will find yourself settling only because you're like, I just what's over there isn't worth it, so I'm just going to stay where I'm comfortable, which is a word that we used earlier.
Isaac mentioned earlier when you said when you turned 30, that was the first time you experienced the CEO position. And you quickly said, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be different when you were 30 to when you finally land and this new thing presents itself to you? Do you think you're going to be ready? Or is it going to be the same mentality? I wasn't ready. Like, what's different?
I know I'm going to be ready. That's the beauty of my last 5 years of introspection and knowledge of myself. So much that I have a tattoo that says ready. I know I'm there.
So let me ask you a question.
I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. I know what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. I know the dollar amount I need to make and not a dollar more. Before now, I'm spending too much time making dollars. I know that about myself. It's the biggest thing I've gained from walking this planet for 49 years. I wish I'd had this when I left high school.
No,
we talked about that. So I think
if the genie gives you 3 wishes, that would be my wish. Give me the knowledge in high school that I have as an older man.
Solomon in this way?
It's the cheat code.
No, we're not gonna go there. That's another podcast. So Isaac, I have a philosophical let's just say this. My perspective is under development or still in development for this idea that I'm ready for what I'm truly ready from what I'm about to encounter. What I mean by that is I believe every time we're called up to something new, it's a stretch. There's an element of it that we know, there's an element of ourselves we know, but there's also elements of ourselves we don't know. And there's parts of ourselves that are underdeveloped for what we're called to do or what we need to do. So when I hear you talk about being ready, even to the point where you've got a tattoo that says you are, give the audience a taste of what you're ready for. Because if you don't actually know where you're going to land, remember, you described it as midair. So what are you ready for?
Let's start with, I'm ready for failure, because that's taking the leap means you got to be ready to fall with no net. When I was 30, I was not ready to fall with no net. And we talked about this. I had this fear of being unemployed, not succeeding. And so I took a job in Florida that was safe instead of grinding it out and fighting for the job I had. That's being not ready. But now what you're talking about is being, no, I don't think I'm using ready to describe that I have the tools that I need to be successful at this next venture. I'm ready in that I know how to get those tools to be successful in the next venture. But no, I'm not ready for whatever's coming at age 60, 61.
You said what I was hoping you would say in your initial answer, because when you're ready for failure, you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
And that's the point and the part that most people struggle with. The relationship with that F word and just the shivers and fears and cold sweats it brings out in people, because it speaks to the unknown. It speaks to, man, the value I bring, the value that I work so hard to establish. Failure, how could I let that happen? How could I be okay with failure happening? What do you tell somebody going through that mental exercise?
So to Isaac, again, developing on what you said last, um, I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe when you say that you're ready for failure, you're talking about when it occurs, when a portion of the experience occurs, you know what parts of yourself you need to access or how you need to sit with it in order for you to grow from it versus you know what cupboard to open and just grab the solution. Is that what you're saying?
That's exact. Yeah, yeah. Why don't
Yeah.
you answer? Why don't you answer the questions for me? That was beautiful. Yeah.
No, because to your question, James, I mean, like I think that's the work that a lot of people are afraid of doing. I've spoken to many leaders and they would say, Gerren, I saw one of your videos online. Like you have such depth, is what they would say. And I would say, well, let's engage on that. Like what was it in what I said that resonated with you?
Mm.
And they would struggle to engage in that conversation. I mean, struggle, sit there in silence. And one thing the last person has said to me, Gerren, I have not yet thought about even going that deep within myself. So they would stay on a certain surface that may seem successful, that may seem that they're okay, not one layer deeper.
You didn't go further with him, I imagine, right? But
not in that conversation, no.
do you think he was capable of going further?
I believe that we all can. I think it's a matter of if we're willing to, because it's so uncomfortable, James.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is.
When my therapist told me the first time, she says, Gerren, you need to learn to sit in your. I didn't know what she really meant. Like I heard the words. I didn't know what she meant until I started practicing doing some of taking some of the steps that she mentioned. And I noticed the feeling.
Yeah.
And then I remembered her words. And it was like, you mean you want me to sit in this? Deep breath, sit in it. And the evolution that happened within me, remarkable. But man, it still takes a lot of work.
My therapist said it's okay to be afraid. So she gave me the same line about sit with the fear, and she said, wait a second, you know, it's okay to be afraid of a particular outcome and just sit there and be afraid. It's okay to be afraid. It's not a sign of weakness that you have fear. It's what you do with that fear. It's the next step. Does that fear become enabling or the opposite? Does that fear stifle you and cause you to not act? But it's okay to just sit there and be like, you know what? I'm a little afraid that I won't come up with enough money for my kids' college. Okay, now how does that feel? What does that do for you?
What helped me with that statement that you mentioned was shifting it from being afraid to I'm experiencing the feeling of fear.
Yes.
Brother.
Yeah. I'm experiencing the feeling of fear. Yeah.
So again, I'm playing with it now.
You depersonalize it.
Yeah. It helps so much.
Yeah, I
And
like that,
so
man.
really, the whole thing on fear is don't let fear change your behavior.
To get to that point, Isaac, you have to be willing to look to the other side of it. Many people never do that. They don't want to look, they don't want to peek over the fence of fear and see whether the grass is greener or not, to see if they survived it or not. You know, one of the biggest things that I've started to do week to week now is just say to myself, you survived. Despite all the things that happened, the ups, the downs, the uncertainty, the anxiety, the fear, man, you're still here. You woke up again.
Yeah, that's
right.
good.
You still have, got a roof, got got a close group of friends.
I got to say something to that.
I survived.
So I have said those words, and then I would say like, but what I would say out loud like, but what does now look like? Like I survived it, right? I went through what I went through,
Yeah.
And I'm here today,
Yeah.
And I'm looking around.
But right or wrong, as the days go by, you feel very differently about that experience. What you thought was the finish line or the checkered flag now is not that,
Right.
right?
And there's always a feeling of, but the shoe may drop.
Again,
Right?
but you know how to handle it.
I know. And it's still, I mean, I still struggle with that too, man.
Again, the reps we take,
Yeah, yeah,
everything we go through, the effort we put in, the anxiety we get over, the ability to now conquer the feelings of fear, the feelings of anxiety,
yeah.
feel them, to Isaac's point, feel them, but then put them on the shelf and continue with your life. I've told you what I do with my Mondays now.
Yep. Yep. I mean, share.
And so I fast on Mondays now, right? I fast on Mondays, every Monday, put out a short video on it a while back. And the reason I do it is because my commitment is to leave every anxiety, every fear, every concern, drop it off on Monday and live Tuesday through the next Sunday without any of that baggage that I left on Monday. And what I'm learning is Monday to Monday, things are changing in what I'm really worried about.
Sure.
Because as I reflect the next Monday on, okay, last Monday, okay, I was there. Shoot, that's not what I'm concerned about anymore this week.
Yeah, you put it on.
I've progressed.
Yeah.
And it has been yes, it's a mental thing. I know it's a mental thing, but I find myself living with so much more velocity through the week because I refuse to carry those things beyond Monday. So
Deep.
whatever
I like
you got
that.
to do, whatever you got to do to get over it, to get over those hurdles, to be able to look beyond the big bad word or the big bad feeling that prevents you from taking the steps you want to take. Figure something out. But progress is required. And that's where that reconciliation, you will never get beyond it if you are not willing to face it.
Any thoughts, Isaac?
It's beautiful. I'm gonna try that Monday fast for that purpose. I like it. Yeah.
It's been transformative. I was telling him about it this week because I mean I'm going through so much. Every day is different. There's so much uncertainty, and I find myself waking up with none of that in my baggage for the day. None of it.
Yeah.
It's weird. I told him
It absolutely has to be.
it's absolutely it's a strange feeling, right? And I think I told you.
There's something about for me about the ability to categorize things. There are a lot of things that happen to me, or there's fears that I have of things coming down the line that just occupy my brain because I haven't categorized it.
Absolutely.
And once I can, I've told people close to me, yeah, I just couldn't sleep last night. I was up, on my brain. But once I figured out what was staying around, and I sat with it, I thought it through. I thought about the worst case. I thought about the best case. I thought about what I can do, what I can't do. Then I was able to categorize it. This is something I can't control. This is something I can't control. And in the morning, I'm going to do A, B, and C to mitigate the risk or avoid it. But just spending the time to just recategorize everything. And I like James. Yeah, it might take 24 hours, but remove something out of your life, eating, to give you that focus, to just get everything in its right place, because you can let something move into this, it could all fall apart, and now it's just weighing on you.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember the last part of what I told you is what I find myself living, Isaac, is boldly. And I told him, I don't think I ever understood the difference between confidence and boldness until I started this practice. Confidence is I got it in the bag. All right, this is good. I can take on this challenge, and I know that I've got enough wind at my back to go through it.
Yeah.
Boldness is living and not caring about the outcome, but being so enabled and empowered in how you're mentally approaching your day to day, knowing that the stuff I left on Monday will catch me maybe next Monday.
Yeah.
But I'm not dragging it around with me, man. So now the boldness I'm able to live with has been absolutely transformative.
Yeah.
And it, to be honest, it was the missing link for my 20 years in corporate America. It was one of the missing links. I didn't have boldness. I did not have.
Talk about that, man.
Because you had more to lose than you had to win.
That
And
was
when you don't know your purpose
whether I
in life,
identified it as that or not, he's right. I always feared like it could be taken away at any moment. I wasn't in control of whatever happened next. And so that perception of I gotta
do what you need to do to fit the mold.
right. I have to shrink myself, reduce myself to fit this mold and not live with this boldness that allows me to really understand who I am and what I'm capable of, rightfully like architected. Man, it is. I'm just now getting to that place in like the last week and a half.
I got
Yeah,
to laugh at this. Go ahead, Isaac.
I'm
I
sorry.
was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say,
Go ahead.
this is why I like
Go ahead.
This is why I like Dan Campbell, the coach of the Lions. That guy goes for it on fourth down all the time
Yeah.
because he recognizes you play to win. You don't play not to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I was talking about. You got more to lose than you have to win. It gets you into this place where you're being just defensive all the time, and you're making the safe moves because you don't want to go to the press conference and explain why you lost, or you don't want to come home to your wife and explain why. So you're just playing it safe. Let me just do this. Let me do that. But when you realize, wait a second, in life, if I could go to my grave having fulfilled all of my dreams and having no regrets, and that's more important than being successful or getting the attention of other people. That's something to win, and that's more important. So now I can be bold and fearless.
Yeah.
Man, but you know what made me grin several times a few seconds ago was how can we take this learning in our 40s, pick it up, slap it down between 25 to 30,
I don't think it
and
would stick.
give it to somebody as a gift that they will believe, though, right? Now we've gone through, I mean, we've weathered some storms, right? We've gone to war, outside, internally, and now we can sit here and say this at this point in time with confidence and boldness. Man, can we give that to our 20, 22, 23-year-old self?
We need to give it to people in their 40s first.
I hear you.
Because there's a lot of people living this part of their life where they should be reaching that peak of enjoying the blessings that have been kind of placed around them, and they don't know how. They don't know how. They can't authentically do it because they're still living in the mindset that Isaac talked about, which is I got more to lose than to gain.
Yeah.
So I have to put myself in a mold. You and I had this conversation this week when we talked about who do we want to bring on next.
Yeah.
Isaac, some of the names you would know.
Yeah.
And we both started laughing.
Yeah.
And the laughter was because we know, my comment was, what are we going to talk about with them? See, he's doing the same thing. It's the same laugh.
And granted, he said, and you followed it up by saying, I'm not saying that in malice. I'm not saying.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's not a negative. It's not a knock on them.
Right. It's just.
At all. It's that when you're living in a place where you have more to lose than to gain.
You have more to lose.
Right. When you believe you have more to lose than to gain, are you going to show up as authentically as you really want to? Are you going to be able to represent yourself with the vulnerability?
Yeah.
Are you going to worry about what your employer thinks of this video, the fact that it may get past to somebody and you expressed an opinion or a perspective that may not align with what they think are the correct opinions or perspective? So why would I put my friends in that place?
Understood.
Right? Why would I set them up to be disingenuous to themselves on wax, on tape?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel appropriate. You may
other-
convince me otherwise, Isaac, but
No, don't do that to them because they're not ready. The other perspective is, are you living internally driven or externally driven? And that's the whole piece of purpose. Once you find your purpose, and there's no judgment on whatever your purpose is, but once you find it, that's if it's internal, That's what gets you to living boldly and making good sound decisions that work out because you're happy and you experience joy in the long term. But those people that are living externally and the I'm going to say it. I hate to say it like this, but a lot of those people living externally, they're all over Facebook and they're
Yeah.
all over Instagram. Not to say that if you are, but we see a lot of pictures of life is going great
Yeah.
because they're living externally. They want you to think a certain thing. Uh, but I there's no way I could capture the joy I experience right now in a picture. There's no there's no
You,
Instagram post that could do it.
Nah,
I
you,
want
I know.
to.
I go a step further. You're not even thinking about taking a picture because you're too connected to the actual experience. The picture's the last thing on your mind.
I'm enjoying it. It when you
Yeah.
go to a concert, I hate the people that pull out their phones and I'm like, wait, stop recording.
You're looking at it through
Enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Can't
Kendrick
encapsulate it.
Lamar is live on stage. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
and you're looking through your phone.
Yeah.
Uh, so Isaac, how do people go in your mind? Because I think we've all lived externally before,
Mhm.
and I think we're all working to live more internally. I wouldn't say we've reached there maybe completely because life is life, right? Um, but what can you say about that transition? Like, what if you had some advice? Putting you on the spot a little bit, but if you had some advice or a perspective on what that transition really is and how somebody could approach it, like what would you say?
Get more specific in the question. Because my first thought would be get to it as soon as possible. But how do you get to it? Would be ask yourself more probing questions about why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And then this is great because we're black men. Black men are terrible at this. Black men are terrible at assessing our feelings.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
put a name, sit with it long enough to label it and categorize it and then react to it.
Mm.
So during the years of external motivation, you're gonna get some negative feelings from things that happen. If you just push through that and keep grinding and don't sit and say, wait a second, I did not enjoy that, or that caused this feeling, or people reacted that way. If you're not self-reflective enough, you don't have enough introspection to ask those probing questions of yourself, you'll never get to this is just not fulfilling for me. It's not because it's not my purpose.
So I hear that. I think part of it is even recognizing it to begin with, because, and I'll use my own story. Um, Once a particular situation, I call them assignments. Once a particular assignment reaches its conclusion, whether it's a positive conclusion or one where you may be pushed out of a door, the temptation is to say, I'm going to go find another similar job or another similar situation because it's what I know, what my resume supports. And so naturally, I would go and find another job to fill that void and keep extending.
Yeah.
Um, so with that, with us, I think we all agree that that's really the natural thing people would do. But that's not doing what you're talking about, Isaac, which is really paying attention to what happened and how I feel about what happened and how I contributed to what happened and what I could control in what happened. And then figuring out and even being able to say, was I enjoying it or was I not? Was I growing or was I not? Was I just settling or was I not? That's a difficult conversation because you talk to some of our friends who are doing very well in their careers, and you ask them, "Are you having fun?" Nope, nope, not having fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you wish you could earn money another way? 150%. Oh yeah, I wish I could earn money another way. Well, why aren't you? Conversation stops.
Listen, that is tough.
It's tough.
What Well, I mean,
Oh, did I say it was easy?
no, I mean,
Oh, okay.
you said it was a difficult
Oh,
conversation.
Okay.
But to the audience out there, like, it is tough. We have done a lot of work, man, for us to be having this conversation so casually. You know, like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand what you're saying, Isaac. I get you, James. This is foreign to a lot of people. And you're saying to sit with yourself and do that? We and this is
And push through it.
man, forget pushing through it
You
yet.
said push through
I
it.
heard him the first time. It is we don't trust ourselves. We have given ourselves so many passes so many times that we do not trust ourselves. We've lost confidence in ourselves because we're the only ones that actually knew what we said we were going to do and didn't do it. A lot of people know stuff, but we know much more of how many times we said that we're going to do something, we're going to follow through, and we didn't do it. And I believe that chips away of our confidence. So to now ask me to sit with my feelings on a thing that occurred in my past where I was so quick to blame others, and you're asking me to now be introspective and consider my role in this?
I'll go a step further. I would love for folks to assess where they are now and be honest about it without anything going wrong. Do you have? Do you get what I
I
said?
hear you. I hear
Should
you.
you have to wait for adversity to be honest about where you're currently standing?
Brothers,
Isn't the time to actually do it when you're not experiencing adversity?
brothers.
That's
I
good.
hear you. I hear you, man. I think guiding people through this process will be a solid bet to help someone learn how to sit with themselves, learn how to take a different perspective of an experience that they had without judgment. So don't say like I did or I deserve to or they made me do. Let's just put it out there, look at it on the table, and just like let's play with it. Teach me how to play with it. Teach me how to move it around and look at it without judgment, without feelings being involved. And it's like, what do you think? Like, let's look at that. What do you think? Right? I think people need guidance going through that process so that they can now take the reins and say, I can do this by myself at home. Right? That's how it was for me when I went through therapy. It really, really helped, but I was taught that.
Yeah, so agreed. But for most people, this is triggered through a traumatic response. This is a traumatic response, right?
It is.
It's not an acknowledgement of wake up in the morning on a Wednesday after years of feeling the same feeling you've had for years, and you now identify it as I'm just not happy. I'm miserable,
Sure.
and I don't know what to do about that.
Yes. That's the process. That's the step. And then what? What would you suggest they do next, Isaac? I don't know what to do about that.
See a counselor.
I don't trust.
Get help. Bring a third party in. And I say that because it's often the last idea we have as Black men. We're confident, we those that were raised by good Black men, we leave the house feeling confident. We can do it ourselves. There are points in your life where you have to say, I got to bring somebody in, a confidant, a friend, a spouse, a counselor, and say, I don't know what to do. Help me out.
So I need help. So you're asking me to say to the
Help me think
world,
through it. Help me think through it. It's perfectly fine to say, I realize I'm not happy, but I don't know how to get from here to there. It's fine. It's okay to not have the answer.
I hear you. We say this.
This man is. You can tell he's on the other side.
I know.
Because the level of comfort
Right.
that you express, even in that sentiment, is to somebody who has not gone through that, it's jarring to the ear.
Absolutely.
It's jarring, and I hope you can.
I was wondering why you were giving me blank looks. Okay, I thought I
it's like
something crazy.
even as you say it, I'm like like it's stinging the ear because I get what you're saying and I believe what you're saying.
Yeah, totally.
And
I remember. You remember what?
Of course, I do. But the idea that someone that doesn't know that they're broken,
Oof.
wakes up one day and comes to terms with the fact that something's not right, man. it's not normal for me to be feeling this way. And I believe this is the part, and I said this in one of our early videos, Gerren, I normalized the feelings, and I thought that if I sought anything else, it was a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
It was my lack of commitment. It was
You're not doing
you know,
enough.
yeah, it was some of those things we were probably raised with to say giving up and quitting, aren't good. So push through, fight through, soldier on.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it, and with no regard for your actual happiness, mental health, or whatever.
End up with high blood pressure, a stroke.
Everything,
Yeah.
right? Pills. I mean,
Yeah.
look at my little pill thing. It's huge,
Yeah.
right? Added to it last week.
Mm.
So I think this idea that I'm broken, something's wrong with me, and that's okay, is the hard part. The last element of that, that's okay.
Yeah.
This is normal. That I can go see somebody, right? I can have the attitude I go, okay, oh, my brain's getting in the way. Let me go talk to somebody, right? And I'm a person that doesn't out of the gate with your spouse, that may be tough. I think that's different household to household.
Mhm.
But having someone who can reflect back to you
Mhm.
what you give them, and in a way with a skilled hand, let's say,
That's true.
has an opportunity to rearrange the blocks and show you a picture.
Yep.
Either that me?
Yep.
Is that what it really looks like?
Yep.
There's no joy in that. I'm working 50 hours a week. I'm running my kids around. I'm coming home and cooking all at night, keeping the house clean, keeping the cars clean, paying the mortgage, paying the insurance. The watching the news, scary. It
Yeah.
adds to the stress.
Yeah.
And I go to bed and wake up and do that every single day. And I think that's normal.
Listen, I giving people tools to be able to work through this is helpful. It's really helpful. We spoke yesterday, Isaac, and I expressed to James that I was experiencing some anxiety, and I was in I was in the guest room taking a nap, lying down in my bed, taking a nap in the guest room, and this when this brother calls, and my brain, I was thinking about fixing things so much. Like I felt as though I had to solve these problems that I was dealing with for the week. And you mentioned, hey, Gerren, I left mine on Monday. And I'm like, I hear you, dog. Like, I don't need to hear this, but I hear you, right? So I'm trying to fix things. My brain is literally hurting. And I said, you know what? Jump on your mountain bike and go for a ride. I thank God that I had a mountain bike and I picked that up as a hobby to go for a ride and put myself in a different scene out in nature to just be grateful.
Mm.
And that, I didn't ride but for probably 3 miles, but I paused. I stopped at a bench and just enjoyed the wind blowing through the trees, just to shift the scenery, man, and my brain, everything just relax.
Mm.
I felt better.
Mm.
On the way back home,
Mm.
typically when I'm in a situation like this where I'm stressed out, when I feel that I'm not in control, I want to do something where I believe I have control. I want it to feel powerful, right?
Mm.
Right? That could lead me down some unhealthy habits. I chose to buy my family dinner. And as I was driving home, I said to myself, this feels powerful.
Mm.
I'm bringing dinner home for my wife and my daughters. So I had to shift. Again, this is talking about redefining moments now, okay? In order for you to be able to push through, I wouldn't have known that I had access to these things had I not done some serious work. And what we're asking people to do is to come up with those solutions, but they got to do the work. And the work itself is scary.
What I would say to you, Gerren, the other thing we talked about this week is the idea that the puzzle pieces are there.
Yeah.
Our perspective has not yet come into focus.
Yep. Yep.
So very often we go through these gates and we look around and we see, wait a minute, I have a bike there. The trail's right up the street.
Yep.
I have time. I can choose to take my time sulking and feeling, bad for myself and the woe is me, or I can get up and go do something active, right? Those are things that, to your point, it does take It takes knowing that you matter and it's okay to invest in yourself
Mm.
to do that. So many people don't. Remember back when I used to get on you about a hobby?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do a series on hobbies, by the way, because I believe, especially in our community, we don't have, we don't really lean on that enough.
Yeah.
We don't have outlets, healthy outlets. So there's a series coming on that. But, um, this idea of I can wake up one day, I can get to a point of inflection, I can embrace that point, I can go and seek help and guidance, and I can be normal because this is okay. I didn't break. I'm not defective. My brain isn't playing tricks on me. I'm not slipping into, some type of, mental health issue. I'm just living life, and life is hard. And at times I need to just acknowledge that and get the assistance I need to carry on.
I want to piggyback on that and share that we at least have households that support that type of thinking. Because that's another thing at play here.
Mm.
Can you imagine a man going through this experience and he decides to take, for instance, what I did, go in the back room and just lay in bed for a moment, right? I didn't know how long I was there. I was there probably over an hour, right? But I separated myself from my wife and my daughters. But my home supports that type of behavior, though, that type of therapy or that type of moment. There could be a lot of homes out there where that's not supported. So we can't just overlook that. And because somebody might look at this guy, the man of the house in the back room in a fetal position, like, what are you doing? Like, get up and find get some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be different.
I think that's the first thing we think of when we talk ourselves out of including other people in what's going on is the negative repercussions of what they will think of us when they see how the sausage is made, when they lift up the hood and see, just days, there's hours, you're just weak. You're not that strong provider. And so I know there are men that are married to women that can't handle it. Do your best to assess that. Your person does not have to be your spouse. But there are men with a woman, she can take that. She can run with it. She can be in there, that space, and not think less of you. And those women are gold. But spend some real time and thought about who you're going to bring into that inner sanctum. Is it a spouse? Is it a cousin? Is it a coworker? Or is it a paid therapist?
Yeah.
That's paid to not think less of you. And if they do, you find another therapist.
Man, this feels like a good place to start bringing this home. Didn't quite go the places I expected it to go today, but it went where it needed to go.
Yeah, this is good.
And I think I'm just going to make a request on tape. We would like you to come back and further some of these conversations. You bring a very unique voice to this. Your experiences and where you are on the other side of that, the fence, those things that pull and hold most people back, man, is refreshing. And I think the audience would really resonate with this, man. So there's open invite. We'll stay close on topics, but I think this, this conversation is one that needs additional time.
Still speaks to the
it needs additional time.
Never want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, audience, again, what we want to bring to you is the most authentic conversation possible. You saw me put my iPad down a while ago because it didn't matter anymore. The conversation that we recorded today is the conversation that needed to happen. My hope and prayer is that someone who's listening to this will find value in it or know someone who will find value in it, and you'll pass it on to them.
Sure.
because the conversation between three men like this doesn't happen often enough. Men or women. This is not just a gender-based thing, but as a man, I think Isaac spoke to it in his last few comments, the idea that we're supposed to be the ones that have it together. We're supposed to be the ones with the answers. We're supposed to be the ones that no matter what can continue to provide a life that is increasingly, heading in a steady upward direction. And that we can't have a bad day or a bad month or a bad season. That's just not practical. That's dangerous thinking. And the better way is to find groups of people like the ones you saw sitting here today, where you can just talk,
Yeah.
where you can share your experience, where you can where you know that you won't get judgment, but that you will be able to hear from people with really sound guidance on how you can take steps to improve where you are today. And I'm not talking about improving any material position or anything like that. That stuff isn't important. If you watched a few videos, you know that we put that to bed. That is not what we're after. But you will be able to improve your position of peace, of satisfaction in life, of joy, and a commitment to tackle with boldness whatever is next around the corner. So with that, I'm gonna, Gerren, Isaac, any final thoughts for the audience before we close today? Isaac, any final words for the audience today?
No, I cannot top your ending. That was just perfectly said. Achieve your goals with boldness.
Absolutely. Thank you to the audience again. Very much appreciate your commitment to this journey of the growth mindset. And stay tuned for more videos like this. And again, please share it. Please share it. I appreciate you listening to it. But if you share it with one person, we believe it will make a difference in their lives as well. Thank you.